All right, we are back. The three of us. It's been a long time since we've had the three of us in studio. It's been what now? 5 weeks? 6 weeks? Since the end of September?
Feels
Three?
more than that, actually.
Three
More,
weeks?
no, more than 3.
Oh, no, because last week we were supposed to be together.
Yeah, we were tripped up because you were busy at work. And then 2 weeks prior to that, I was... no, 2 weeks prior to that was the rules committee, right? So you guys did it on the Wednesday when I was scorekeeping.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks prior to that, it was Laurie and I, because I think you were not available.
Yeah.
And then it was you and Iggy. So yeah, been 5-6 weeks.
About, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Not
The,
sheesh.
Your
The-
hair is making it very complicated to chroma.
Yeah, I'm getting a haircut tomorrow, actually.
Good.
It's a day too late.
Yeah, it is. I know. It's usually Thursday or Friday, but I said
Yeah.
let's do Friday, you know? PC's in the
I
house.
got a new haircut.
Did you?
I did. It's a transitory one because I'm changing the angle. It's a new haircut for a new decade.
Okay.
So I'm changing the angle with which it's positioned. And so they cut it this way, and then the next haircut will be the actual haircut.
Fair enough, then. So PC's
I'm
in the house.
transitioning.
You're transitioning to the new decade. PC's in the house. Eagle's in the house. I'm in the house. We're a bit congested, Eagle and I.
You sound like garbage.
Yeah, I know. I'm okay, though. I'm fine.
You know, like some people sound like super sexy when they're
Yeah.
sick? You're not one of those people.
No, but
Your
it's-
normal
it's-
voice sounds great.
I know, but it's just because it's the weather, right? We're going
Yeah.
cold to warm. It's screwed up my system, so I feel great. It's the whole congestion part.
I blame global warming.
Yeah, yeah. Bleep you, global warming people.
You know, the Bills blame global warming when the Dolphins beat them in week 2. Excuse Mafia.
Aren't you guys playing this week?
No, yes.
Bye week.
No, but yeah. This week is the Bears.
Oh, right, yeah. It was soon, though, no?
Yeah.
Bills, Dolphins at
It's
Orchard Park?
end of November, beginning of December, I believe.
Yeah, it's a good game to watch. It might be flexing to primetime football. It
Let's
might
hope
be
so.
flex. Yeah,
Let's
you
hope
know
so.
what? I might be. I don't get off course here, but I'm supposed to go to Giants Eagles
Oh, that's fun.
December, and that might be flexed in to
My-
primetime
My cutoff to watch football in a stadium that's outdoors
mid-October.
is, I was going to say American Thanksgiving is the absolute latest.
Yeah. Well, the idea was to go to Dallas for Giants Cowboys, but the travel would be too hectic to go to do a one-day trip. So we'll
I'm
see.
surprised you didn't want to go to Vegas to see your team.
Oh, hell no. Anyway, Eagles in the house, PC's in the house, I'm in the house. We are down to the final days of the Fall Cup prelim round.
Day.
Or a day, yeah. And then we have...
Dude, there's just a singular day left.
There is, for whatever reason. Thank you, Rob.
Because we couldn't have games on Thanksgiving Sunday, so there's one Sunday extra, essentially. That's all.
Right.
And we have to start the season past Labor Day, which also we can't have games on. So, yeah,
Right.
it's just the remaining games are just now. So, it is what it is.
Sure. Winter registrations, do we have an update here? Or is it open now fully?
It is now open, so if you go to the website, there will be a cycle thing in the front here. Give it a second. Usually it takes a little bit of time. I don't want to click
press
the arrow.
hour, right?
I didn't know. Okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
There we go. Winter 2023.
And who's the quarterback? It's from last sect, my man.
It is.
Yeah.
That is correct. So you can go ahead and check all the information you want about the winter season on this page. It'll give you a breakdown in terms of all the dates, the cost, the divisions that we offer, etc. They're all here.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is. You want to sign up, you go ahead and do so. There's under the sign up area, you can sign up as a team. Or if your friends are being douches, you can always sign up as an individual, and we'll find a team for you. Usually we would do a little free agent combine to try and help you find a team. So that's available right now.
And player ratings, what's the deal here? Because I've had people reach out to me asking for player ratings.
Player ratings are going to be adjusted on a per individual basis. We're not doing a full overhaul of the ratings since fall is technically, as of now, considered an unofficial season, even though it isn't, but it is.
It's nonsense.
We've never, for context, we've never done adjustments in the fall season into winter for
but
any teams.
why?
Because it started off as a tournament mode, and it still kind of is. And
But
so
it's still a sample size of play.
I agree with you. I've lost that battle.
All right, well, that's another battle for another day here. The
Nonsensical.
Hall of Fame will be announced. We saw it on the Instagram page for FPF that the Hall of Fame class will be announced when?
Soon, we're going to put out the voting to the community, to Hall of Fame members, to staff members shortly, and we're going to announce it throughout the playoffs, probably in the last week and everything.
So if you'd like to join the three of us in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. It's a big fraternity with the three of us only.
None of us are playing.
No.
Hey,
Awards.
one of us passed Alex Lever on the all-time yardage list, just saying.
Yeah, Mo.
It wasn't
was the Eagle?
What?
Was it Eagle?
Yeah, it was Eagle. Eagle passed him for passing yardage.
Yeah, I have a catch in tier 1, okay?
Of course. Awards announcement. The awards will be announced, I think, soon, right?
Correct, yes.
So there you go. Okay. And don't forget, check out the schedule for the knockout round. That will be posted as of Monday, correct?
So technically, the dates are already up in terms of when and where the games are going to be, and depending on the division you're in, where the games actually are. So, for example, if we were to go to the site and we go under the calendar on November 14th, there were 2 women's games at Stade de Montréal and 4 Tier 3 games at Saint Laurent. Same thing for all the other ones. So you can just go through this. It'll tell you exactly what the tier is, and the rest of the details will be coming up when we get the actual teams shortly. So technically the schedule's already up for your tier, so you can plan ahead when your games are going to be. It's just a matter of which time slot is yours, essentially.
Right. Okay, let's dive into tier 4. Here's a team I'm looking forward to that I've watched a few times now. Red Dragons, they've won 3 straight. Got off to a slow start. Their last loss was the Penetrators, which I score cap at Loyola, which I believe was the last outdoor game at Loyola for the season. I think they're peaking at the right time here, Pease. They've been competitive in all their games this year. I like their receiving core that they have. They're a young team, potential long-term value that they could be here for a while with this core group. And I think they are a team to watch out for in Tier 4 moving forward.
Big win yesterday.
Yeah.
So they've competitive in all their games except they lost 52-14 to Primetime and 38-12 to Save the Turf Toes. So they're competitive in all their games except against the 2 best teams in the division. That's the main issue. Like they're the next tier of teams, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they do have a legitimate chance. I like them. I think they're fun. Guillaume Boulanger, when he's been there, has been solid. Not great, but solid.
Can we give them a little bit of reprieve in that they played primetime and Save the Turf Toes in week 2 and 3? So by that period of time,
but then West Island Boys also beat them 39-13. Like, yes, but half of their season they spent only scoring 2 scores against the division's top teams, and averaging over 40 points per game in those games.
But you know what?
But they kept it close against Penetrators, so we'll give them that, right? So I just think that, and there's no. Here's the thing: is there's sort of a top 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 2, 3, 4 teams in any order you want to look at it. Primetime, Save the Turf Tools, West Island Boys, and the Penetrators are the best teams in the division, right?
Yes.
So they're not quite that, which is fine. They beat QB Roulette and Step Rose, which was expected. And Toon Squad is a team I think that's probably about their caliber, and it was a close game, and they won that game. So it still deserves credit. I just don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
No, you're right about the top 3 being in its own class with Wib and Penetrators and Save the Turf Tolls. But I think in the next wave, though, they're definitely they're the cream of the crop. And when I go back to that Penetrator game that they had, they played them tough. It was one of those games, the weather was kind of murky. I know you weren't a big fan of Loyola that day.
Oh, just stop with the outdoor games when it's -2.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'm done.
It's funny, the
spitting
inverse,
rain.
though. The weather we have now should have been early October.
Yeah, this would have been great.
This would have been perfect now.
I took a 6-kilometer walk to get here because it was early and it's nice out. And it was a beautiful day, so I walked over.
Right.
And no problems.
But, the Red Dragons, wherever they land, and they are going to be probably your 4 seed. Oh, they will be your 4 seed, I beg your pardon. I'll give them 1 round. I'll give them at least 1 round. Yeah. And after that,
I think they're matchup dependent, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they get like Turf Tolls or Penetrators, I think I give them a run against Penetrators and Wib, but I think the Turf Tolls will be the team that they might have problems with.
Turf Tolls and I think Penetrators. So I think 2.0 of that would be more difficult for them.
Right.
But we won't get into seeding specifically because next show we'll actually have the official seeding, so we'll focus on that.
Exactly. So QB Roulette finally wins a game. Did they take our quarterback, Eagle, last week? Or what was the plan last week from our quarterback?
I don't remember.
I think they did.
Wow. Clearly, that was what it was missing. Because we are arrogant sports media.
You know what?
Show.
They might have. I think we actually did pick Kenny Boutelier to do it. So
we did, yeah. And they finally went over primetime, 13-12.
That's a big win.
You're welcome.
It's about time. Maybe you should listen to it the entire time.
They also brought in Alexandre Blais for this game. So that
helps. Alex Blais is a good player. They brought in Iggy for the last few games as well. So it's a better team than they used to. Lucas Kenville is very fast as well. But you know what? Primetime had what seems to be their full roster or thereabouts. Ethan Adrian, by the way, I want to give him a shout out. He rushed me in a tier 2 game.
Right.
That dude's good. I play with Max Piercin in tier 2, and I was like, if you guys can't replace Julien Paiement like full time on Braves, that's the next rusher for Braves. Like
he has like 2.5 sacks per game.
He's amazing. Like he's not just the guy who's fast. He's a really, really good rusher. I nothing but respect for Ethan Adrian. The dude's awesome.
15 career sacks and 4 INTs so far through 2 seasons.
Yeah, he hasn't just played rusher. Like they moved him around a lot. But as a rusher, I think he's phenomenal. He's a really good receiver too. He's just really quick, good body control, and surprised to see the result. But again, like Kenny called on some of his higher division friends, and Alex Blay and Iggy Magnets, and Iggy probably brought Lucas Quenneville. Quenneville wasn't on the team, right?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think he was.
He just has the one game played. So so he was just a sub. I know he plays on Kiss My In-Laws. It's not their playoff roster. It's a much better team that faced primetime this time than will be in the playoffs.
So in the teams that are in the yellow right now, Deep Balls, Toon Squad, QB Roulette, if you got to put your money on one team to get out of the opening game, is it matchup dependent?
So
with these
how will it work in this tier Eagle? The bottom 3 teams will play against.
So the 8 versus 9 team plays. The winner advances. The 7 team gets a bye in the lower bracket. I'm going to call it the loser's bracket. The lower bracket. Then 1 and 2 get byes. 3, 6, 4, 5. The losers of 3, 6, 4, 5 go down and play the 7th team, and then the winner of 8, 9 essentially in the lower bracket. And then that continues onwards every single round. That make sense? So in this example here, the higher seed always wins.
Yeah.
So if we were to equate this, as of right now, again, we'll get into the actual matchups later, but essentially, right now, Balls Deep technically get a bye. Toon Squad plays QB Roulette. Whip 2.0 plays Step Bros, and Red Dragons play Prime Time. The winner of the Toon Squad QB Roulette game plays the higher seed between 3 and 6. Balls Deep plays the lower seed between 3 and 6.
See, like, I give Toon Squad a chance to beat QB Roulette. Like, I think they can get through one round.
I was gonna say Toon Squad, but Deep Balls handled them well last time, and there's some quarterback issues. That sometimes it's Gardner Ross, and sometimes it's Adam Mantel.
Yeah.
And neither one's look great. They both been kind of okay. And the age-old adage, Mo, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one, unless you're QB Roulette, of course, and you listen to us. Also, QB Roulette have shown a poor history of not listening to us, so I don't see how that changes for the playoffs. So I'm going to give it to Deep Balls. I like Bruno Provencher's ability to run.
They have a cool uniform, Deep Balls.
They do.
Houston Oilers look to it.
Terrible name, but I do like the uniforms, and Bruno Provencher is fast. And in tier 4, having a quarterback who can buy time and get some short first downs on the ground will pay off. So I think Deep Balls is more likely than the other 2 teams to create an upset. As much as I wanted to go with Toon Squad, as much as I love the story coming through FPF Junior, I don't see it. I like the pieces around. François Rochelot's looked really good too. For Deep Balls, they're green, but they have a lot of talent. And hopefully him, Rory Kelly, and those guys and them boys can get done.
Wibbit 2.0. What do we? I know they had a bad loss, but what do we see them close to Penetrators and Turf Tools, or are they still in the rest of the pack team like we said for Red Dragons?
I wish I could throw for this team. The receiving core is nonsense.
It's a good receiving core.
It's like a tier 1 receiving team, maybe tier 2, borderline tier 1 receiving core.
Their only 2 losses came in week 1 and 2 against the Penetrators and Save the Turf Tools. And
but they've been better since Zach Stacy's been quarterback.
Yeah,
so they haven't lost since Zach Stacy's been quarterback.
Yeah, Zach Stacy's a better option at quarterback. Skylar Bailiff, we talked about.
But
that.
imagine you could have, if you go into every game in tier 4.
Yeah.
And you're like a competent FPF quarterback. Not saying great, just competent FPF quarterback.
Right.
And you have Zach Stacy, Skylar Bailiff, and Julian McLaren Thompson are your 3 top receivers in tier 4. Right. As a trio, they would be the best 3 receivers on any team in tier 4.
Yeah, I think, look, Skylar Bailiff, I think it was with Iggy I spoke about with Iggy. And I said they have, or maybe it was with you, Pete, I don't remember, that they're weaker having Skylar Bailiff throw than him catching the football.
Course.
And you can see the revelation from where they are now compared to where they were.
But just imagine it was one step further where they also had Zach Stacy as a receiver.
Yeah, no, for sure,
You
right.
know?
And if they had another quarterback in there, I mean, you're talking about an arsenal of artillery that would be phenomenal. But,
And Nick DeMalo's on this team too, by the way.
Yeah.
Just as a fourth option.
Yeah.
One of the fastest guys in FPF.
And the kid, number 13, I always botch his name, and I apologize. Mike Badibunji, I think is his name.
Badiabunji.
Yeah, he is an unreal player.
Yeah.
He's got this afterburner to him that once the ball touches his hands, it's peace. We're going for 6. And I just think this team Wib can. I think they're gonna make noise. I think they're gonna go far, very far, and I think they knock one of the top 3 at some point and get themselves to that discussion of Final 4, if not into the Final 2.
I think so. Zach Stacy's got a 5-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. That's exceptional. That's FPF Hall of Fame worthy, basically.
Yeah.
If you were to project out for that long playing higher divisions, 3-to-1's hard to get in FPF, right?
Yeah.
And so the fact that he's 5-to-1 and not being sort of like a traditional quarterback is really impressive. It's the best version of this team right now, and so I think absolutely they can upset one of those two teams. If they need to beat both of them, I think that'll be tough.
Yeah, it's gonna depend on how the cards fall, like how everything falls in their favor. If it falls their way, where they avoid one of the big hitters and can get one step closer without playing through the Mortal Kombat of the pantheon of teams out there, then I think it should be very fascinating. On to co-ed.
But
yeah, go ahead. You want to wrap it up there?
Yeah, I was gonna say just real quick question. I hate to be the guy that drags the segment, but Eagle, is there a scenario where they would have to play Save the Turtles and who's the other top team? Save the Turtles and Penetrators.
Yeah.
Is there a scenario where they have to play two of those two teams but 3 times because double elimination?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the thing where I think it gets tough.
Right, because
it's absolutely possible,
Yeah.
and realistically, that's probably what's going to happen if they make it to the finals, because they're going to have to win their first round matchup, which as of right now would be against Step Bros. That could change. But if they were to win, they would then play the Penetrators. Mm-hmm. They'd have to beat them, then beat the winner of Save the Turtles versus what would potentially be like Red Dragons. So let's say Save the Turtles. So they have to beat them. And then if either Turtles or Penetrators run the bracket in the lower group, then they end up in the grand finals as well, and they'd have to play them there. Or same thing, if they end up losing one of the games, they'd have to work their way through the lower bracket and then play likely again Turtles or Penetrators in the top
they're going to
bracket.
have to go, and to Peace's point here, they're going to have to go through both those teams, I think. It's a question of how they're able to win those games going forward.
And remember, they could potentially lose one of those games, still win through the lower bracket, and make themselves into the grand finals.
Right.
But again, statistically, it's very high likelihood that they're going to hit Turtles or Penetrators again in the finals.
Right. For those who are going to be watching the Eagles Texan game, let me know how A.J. Brown does.
Touchdown, Philip Dorsett.
You serious?
Yeah. I know. I got. By the way, Eagle, the spread's supposed to be -7, not -13.
It was 13.5. I just checked.
No, man, you fucked me.
Oh, by the way, we didn't do the
I mean, you
Eagle.
messed with me.
We bleeped.
Guy, look, I was literally looking at it. Oh my God, it's literally -7 now. It was -13.5 before. I swear to God, it was -13.5.
I hate you.
I swear to
so
God, it was
much.
that.
I hate you so much.
It was 13.5. I promise you, when
This
I
is
gave it to you, it was
bleepery.
13.5.
Bleepery. High bleepery. Bleepery of the highest order.
I swear to you, it was 13.5.
Oh man. Anyway, we'll talk about that afterwards. All right, go ahead. Eagle and I spoke about this last week, Pease, about the quality teams, perhaps. But is there like a true favorite? Because you think about it now, 8 teams in the green side of the bracket have 5 wins or more.
I think there's sort of like a top 5. I think Fast Not Furious, Easy Fun are kind of easy to pick, right? Because of the way the rosters are stacked and history, and don't really have a question anywhere. Then the next 3 are, I think, well equipped, but there's the question marks, and that to me is Yin and Yang, Fit Squad, and Kiss My End Zone.
Right.
Kiss My End Zone, the question mark is me. Otherwise, the team is completely stacked. but that's what I'm saying. Like the those next three teams, like I feel like Yin and Yang. Yes, Rachel Valliere is amazing, but they're just missing some general team defense, some general team speed on defense. Fit squad. The quarterback play of Brouard has been excellent, but it's not the most complete roster. It's very top heavy with Laurence Pomprin and Bujema Sada as well, and Salim Taye. So like, well, Salim Taye is not even play. That's the other thing. So Salim Taye hasn't played the season, so they're weaker than a team that even went to the finals.
Right.
With probably equal quarterback play. So to me, there's a top 4 or 5-ish teams, regardless of standings. Those to me are the top ones.
Okay, so but as we go to the next question, kind of leads to that next point. There's still games to be played in this division. Do you see like a seismic shift of some teams jumping over others, or are we going to hold serve with the current standings that we have as we speak going towards?
Well, let's just clarify something here,
the big domino is whether or not Kiss My End Zone wins this weekend against Free Smoke.
Right.
That being said,
yes,
all the other teams between 4 and 7 right now, they have another game to play, so they can move around. Like a team like Free Smoke, for example, can go as high as 2nd seed in theory.
Yeah, and some of those teams play each other too. Like I believe Fit Squad plays Villains or Benchwarmers. I don't remember at the moment, and the internet is loading up slowly. Yeah, Benchwarmers plays Fit Squad, so one of those two teams will drop. One will presumably either hold one of the top spots or fall down a little bit. But
and as a reminder, by the way, for the playoffs for this breakdown, 1 to 8 play each other round robin style, and then 9 technically gets a lower bracket bye, and then plays the higher of the losers of the brackets essentially. So you're not in you're in the best spot you could be in, but still the worst spot if you're in 9th.
So through 7 games plus, let's say, because Yin and Yang have done it in 8.
Yeah.
The only teams that scored more than 230 points so far, Fast Not Furious, Yin and Yang, Fit Squad, and Kiss My End Zone. Easy Fun will likely get there with an extra win, and despite their history, they're actually getting it done on the defensive side of the ball. Right. But we talk about this all the time. You need to score in the playoffs.
5 touchdowns.
Those offenses are the ones that right now are playing best.
Yeah, so, and I think when I scrubbed a few of the co-ed games this year, not as much in the last few weeks, but I was completely wrong with some teams. Like Badgers, I thought Badgers were a good team. I'm like, wow, this is a good team, but they were terrible. But
so just quick, we played Badgers most recently.
Right.
Just a quick tip and hint, and we ran up the we if you look at it, it would look as though we ran up the score. I went to see the captain at halftime and said, "Listen, do you mind if we still run our offense because we need to work on some stuff before the playoffs?"
Yeah.
And so we were good. Like it was not a contentious game at all. Like we were chill, and it was good. It allowed us to work on a lot of stuff and run some plays we don't normally run.
Right.
And the one thing I will say for Badgers though is, above all else, there's a lot of things you have to fix. Don't show your defense before the snap. Like that's if you're gonna play Yin and Yang or Easy Fun, or like if you're playing any of those top teams,
the formation before the
like all those all experienced quarterbacks, and even like Dom Lefort, for example, would shred that. You know, like so definitely like any of the experienced quarterbacks in this division, you can't just show that you're in cover 2 every play, and it's like 2-4 every play.
Yeah, that's not.
So like it's okay if you're in the same defense all game, but mask it and then try and incorporate other coverages as well, but at very least try to mask your coverages by everyone lining up at the same spot on the line.
Right.
Just a little tip to help them out. But yeah, they're athletic. They're gonna be fine. It's just there's a lack of knowledge at specific spots in the field.
Yeah, I'm just fascinated by Fast Not Furious.
They're good.
They're a really good team. I
said at the beginning of the season they're the best roster in co-ed.
Yeah, and now with where they're at, I mean they're 6-1. Like they had a tough game against you guys, which was fun to score.
A dropped convert from a loss.
From Rudy, yes, exactly. But
which we've never let her forget.
Definitely not. But now, look, with the Easy Fun game, that could be a prelude to them duking it out once, maybe twice during the knockout stages.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be fun to see how they do. Miles Gibbons is a phenomenal quarterback. And that receiving core is fun to watch, and they are on point. it'll be tough to beat this team. It'll
Yeah.
be very tough to beat them moving forward as well. But look,
That's a game where you know you're gonna have to score.
yeah,
Like that's score, control the clock, that kind of game.
right. Big ups to La Secte
Yeah.
getting themselves their first win in FPF. This is a team we've been following for. They were here in COVID 2020 fall season.
Yeah.
And they've improved.
Huge strides.
Yeah, they've taken steps towards improvement, and this is massive, I think, because we all like this team a lot. Good group of guys and gals on this roster, and for them to get their first win, massive step, and I hope it parlays for them to now grow and build for future years to come with this core group moving forward.
38 points for in this game, too, which is incredible considering their other score lines have been like 2 touchdowns a game type of thing. So really impressive performance by Raphaël Beauchamp-Desbois.
So, I mean, largely what teams have done is double Alessandro Francion.
Yeah.
And he's developed a new threat with Justin Leblanc-Guindon. But, I always say it, Mo, that the strength in co-ed is the strength of your female players, and they just don't use them enough. Laurietzi, to me, is a very underused receiver.
Right.
The fact that she only had 11 targets in 7 games, to me, is nonsense. You need to develop people like Valérie Frappier. You need to... she only played 1 game this season, but in previous seasons as well, she wasn't as used. Estelle Quevelon-Lemain as well, targeted a decent amount, 19 targets in 8 games, but maybe put her in better positions, give her a route tree that she can succeed at, and then start to expand it. That's to me the key to seeing them take the next step.
If they get 1 win in the knockout round, I think it's a massive step. I think it's a massive statement of intent that they're on the right direction. And with co-ed, we were talking about last week about co-ed, how this could be for them, how it could be for next year, where we could see 3 tiers, I would imagine, Eagle, if things continue to expand. With
There are 3 tiers for the upcoming co-ed,
So
yes.
if they're going to be in the lowest tier, which we would imagine will be the case, I'm excited for them. I really think they can win 4 or 5 games if things really fall their way. So congrats to them for doing what they've done, and hopefully get a 1 or 2 along the way and extend their season into late November, if not by the first week of December. All right, tier 3. Is this the toughest tier amongst the ones we have to predict because of how close some of these teams are in terms of talent and win-loss record?
Yeah, tier 3 has been. I thought it was going to be a little bit more lopsided than it was, rather than it's turned out to be. My God, those Texans all Reds are garbage.
I actually like them.
What?
I like them.
Terrible.
It's going to be done with a proper uniform, though.
Terrible. But to be honest, Kiss My In-Laws and Bruins to me still look like the best 2 teams.
Even though Bruins dropped 2 games? Question mark?
Hold on,
But did they though?
Arouche, no.
No.
So you have Arouche behind Kiss My In-Laws.
You don't? Define why.
I like Arouche's defense. I like that defense a lot. If
Okay.
Lalone is locked in, he is a solid quarterback. And look, they played down. Who did they lose? They played out to Threat Level Midnight, which was a closer game than expected. But I find that when they play tougher tier, top tier teams in this division, they play very well. And I think now for Arouche, I'm not saying they're the best team, but I think they definitely are in that conversation of the debate that we can have with Kiss My In-Laws and with Bruins on why they could be a good team.
I mean, look, Trapstars just upset Bruins, right? And the way they did it was generating turnovers, and to be honest, that's not a great, because Kiss My In-Laws and Trapstars run similar concepts on offense. It's not a thing that Bruins defend well. Ryan Garber shredded them. And so if the Bruins can't score, they're going to struggle. They were missing Zach Zwern in this game, which is notable because he's the best receiver in the division, or one of. And to me, if they're at full strength, despite the predictable defense, their offense makes it so that they're difficult to beat game in, game out.
Right.
Kiss My In-Laws proved to me that they're the class of the division. Did Arouche play Kiss My In-Laws?
I don't know. We'll double check that for you.
I'm looking at it now. They did not.
No.
So Arush is only 7-1 because they did not yet have the opportunity to lose to Kiss My In-Laws.
Well,
Clip it.
So, I think I have one of the questions here. Since we're talking about Arush.
Like I get what you're saying with their defense, but like Blue Dreamers have struggled to get off the ground, so they got shut out. Why So Serious have struggled on offense, they get shut out there. So like it's 2 games, and Ravens in week 1, and Ravens haven't looked right all season either. So like, yeah, they shut out Ravens with they allowed 8 points to Ravens with Justin Charleboos, right? And then they go out and shut out Blue Dreamers and Why So Serious, and in those 3 games, they averaged 3 points against per game, roughly, right? A little bit under that.
Right.
And even at that, I believe Blue Dreamers also missing their quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. But the rest of their games, like, you know, they did allow, they had a close game against West Level Midnight. They allowed 31 points to Sulefas,
which Sulefas was it, by the way?
Sorry?
Which Sulefas was it?
Which exactly we never know.
We never know with this team.
And we need them to pay $8 to get verified, so we know it's the right Sulefas.
Exactly.
But
check mark.
They allowed 27 to Warriors. So like it feels like every time they played a legitimate offense, they're just a regular defense. And they got out of the season without having to play against Bruins or Kiss My In-Laws. So they're untested. I don't think the defense is quite as good as you're making them seem. I think they're fine, and I think there's questions about their offense.
I've score kept a lot of their games. I think that, you know, you read some valid points about who they face. Fine, it's their schedule. It's
not necessarily who they face. Like, I'm not just looking at it in terms of who they didn't face, but rather I'm looking at the fact that when they face teams that were on par with them, they play tight games.
I'll give you some quick numbers here. So they have, I believe, 16 INTs through 8 games, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pass rushing is pretty solid. It's been a communal effort of what they have had done so far, with about 8 or 9 sacks this year, a bunch of pick sixes as well. Simon Loise is a phenomenal 2-way player. He might be the guy to watch out for this award for both ways. I also look at their receiving core and what they have developed from that perspective here. Thomas Legault has become a really good number 2 for Eric Lalonde, and now he is Bastien Fanouf-Thibault. With his size, he's become a red zone target for those jump balls, which he did have on Wednesday that they played in Laval. And I just think, look, they will face one of the top hitters, whether it's the Bruins or In-Laws at some point. That's going to happen, right? It's going to happen at some point. But I think at this juncture, with their rapport that they have, it won't be an easy out for Bruins or In-Laws to beat this team by 45 million points here.
How many interceptions they have, Mo?
I think 16.
16?
Yeah.
So, in those 3 games that I mentioned, the Why So Serious game, the Blue Dreamers game, and the Ravens game, that accounts for 10 of the 16 interceptions, those 3 games.
Well, that's what you call productivity.
Or is that what you call false kings?
So are they?
Let's go, Arusha False Kings. We have it. You heard it here first.
So they're your false kings.
False Kings, Arusha False Kings.
That brings up to our next question: is false kings. So Arush, who by the way are gonna hook us up with some food.
But Arush also false pizza, because is that pizza?
I mean, it's not a false pizza. It's a cultural pizza.
Yeah, it's a regional pizza.
It's a regional
How
pizza.
insensitive are you, Peas?
It's a regional pizza, right? That's what it is.
Can I get canceled for pizza?
Pizzagate. Wait, that's a different thing.
Well, it is the credible Pizzagate.
You know what? If you I haven't changed it since I got Pizza's number way back in the day. But if you call it up, it doesn't say Peasy, it says Pizza.
Is it really?
Yeah, I swear to God.
You've never changed it?
I never changed it because I said, you know what? Keep it like that. Why not?
That's fine.
So it says Pizza.
And often I do lean.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Arush is your false kings. Anyone else is a false king in your mind in this division? Or is it only Arush?
Oh, I mean, there could only be one king. It's like a Highlander. But I mean, to me, that's the obvious one. Bruin. So are Bruins as good as they are with the defense that they have? Is the other question. So do we have a tier of 1 with Kiss My In-Laws as the best team?
I think Kiss My In-Laws has the most balanced team.
Because they handled Killer Rays and they handled Bruins.
Yeah, they have less questions at this point of the year.
Who was the only loss to?
For Kiss My In-Laws?
Yeah.
Hold on here. I just gotta whip it up in terms of who they had. They're only
Oh,
lost.
Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, Warriors is an interesting matchup for them. I don't know if they'll allow 52 again.
I don't think they will. I think there's less questions about Kiss My Laws because did I scorekeep that game? No, I did not. But I think there's less questions because we know this team. We know how they've been built. We know who's on this roster. We know the wealth of experience that they have to win these type of games here. So going to the playoffs, yeah, I think they have less question marks than say Bruins or Rouge in your mind, who are the false kings in your mindset.
Well, not just on my mind, factually. And I look. What happened was I opened the Great Tome of False Kingdomhood, and the most recent entry in the Tome of False Kingdomhood was actually Arush, because when you play the Game of Flags, you
I can't wait when you use regional pizza. And hey, we got a special pizza for you. Have this one of your pizzas.
They're spitting in our food, aren't they?
It's a real spice texture to it. Is this a Mediterranean look?
I can't wait. That way, it's like I made out with everyone at the restaurant. Very sexy.
Yeah, I can't wait for the food. Anyway, so False Kings, Arush, if they do win the Tier 3, I look forward to PZ presenting the trophy to them.
Yeah.
For that.
But do I get to present a crown, an invisible crown for their kingdomhood?
Perhaps.
Okay.
On to Tier 2. Starting to sense that we're seeing the shaping of this division of how it's been so far. Peas, is there a gap?
This is the most predictable division.
Well, it's been right, but is there a gap, honestly, with everyone else not named Mangoose, Blackouts, and Kiss My Outlaws with everyone else in this division?
Two gaps. There's two gaps. You just mentioned two gaps.
I'm talking about the upper tier gap.
Yeah. There's the upper tier, which is Kiss My Outlaws.
Yeah.
Which is a Tier 1 team, and then there is Blackouts, Mangoose, and then everybody else.
Look, I like Blackouts a lot. I think Sinagra,
Yeah. They're great.
Ciccone, these guys, Sione, these guys are good.
Yeah.
And
Kiss My Outlaws is insanely better.
Oh, they're
much better than they are.
They're another stratosphere than others. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's two top tiers. There's like a what is it in Gaming Eagle? The Z tier. What's the actual top tier?
S tier.
S tier. That's it. So there's the S tier, right? In Kiss My Outlaws, and then there's the 1 tier, which is Blackouts and Mangoose. I think if Kiss My In-Laws wins, they actually owe FPF money because they registered for a division they shouldn't have been in.
Well,
they're too good. They're too good for the division.
So we won't give them the trophy then.
No.
Oh, what's the trophy?
We give them the trophy. Then Alexis Dubois transfers us $400
if he doesn't sleep in.
if he doesn't sleep in. Yeah.
Doesn't sleep in.
Which, by the way, injury to Alexis Dubois. So we'll see how that affects them.
By the way, won't go into any details, but for him to say yes, let's have a meeting, staff meeting on the Friday, which he, say let's do it and not be there.
And I was so annoyed because I missed it because it's one of the few times I've ever been at work before 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And he's like, I slept in. Like, you jerk.
I go, dude, like I woke up half an hour early to go work out so I can come for this meeting to hear what your idea was, and nowhere to be found. And I have to miss next week because I'm at Nationals. But anyway. Okay, so.
What's the Nationals?
Soccer, women's soccer. I guess with that. It's going to be fun next week. So here's a question for you. Which matchup are you looking forward to the most if you have you want to see maybe Mangoose against Sweat and Beers, or it's a Team Mething against Friends Without Daddy? Is there one match you're looking forward to that you can say, hey, I can't wait to see this happen?
I kind of like Game Changers in terms of how they've developed throughout the season. We said early on that your time to beat Game Changers was early in the season. And now, they put up 31 against Blackouts.
Yeah. So
if Blackouts come out a little flat in that game, or if they get some stops, they demolish Centaurs. They demolish Hot Sauce Sports. I don't know, man. Last 3 games, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah, I unfortunately I'm not scorecard a Game Changer game this season.
And they were only 6. They went down a player, and then Ryan Dobbs-Garnett had to sub to end the game.
Like it was hero football over there,
But it was a weird game against Blackouts too, right? So
yeah.
Provided they're healthy, provided they're full roster, which they seem to never be, I think they can be an interesting team.
Well, a team that caught my attention, you mentioned Centaurs. They're so unpredictable. I mean, Score kept the game the other week or the other day. They have talent there. Like, I mean, you think about Ivan Desjardins, he's a good player on this roster. The Rossi boys as well, but they should be better than what the 3-5 record has indicated. Like, they are a better team than that. I think Sweat and Beers, Rocco Cristiano is really, like, he's the franchise for that team. And if he plays well, it makes a big difference for them. And they played Black Shirts on Monday in Saint Laurent, and they gave them issues. Like, they figured out Cristiano in the second half and made their adjustments and won that football game. But the first half of that matchup, they couldn't figure him out. Like, he just kept plays alive. And so that's why I think Rocco Cristiano, I'm not saying they're going to beat Kismail, but he's going to give them a chance to win more games in the knockout round than expected.
Just two things about Rocco Cristiano.
Get a proper uniform?
That'll help. Also, speaking to the microphone, Mo, helps. I get it. But one thing is a thing I noticed on playing against them with him on defense. And one thing is a thing Iggy noticed calling defense against Rocco. One is, if you have a good rusher against Rocco, he doesn't define his quick read well enough. Like, he doesn't know, like, if I need to get rid of the ball's got to come out and go to this person here. Which, again, given his tackle background, I think it's surprising. But at the same time, you know, in tackle, you're reading the defensive line and how your offensive line is going to block them. It's a little different than what you're doing in flag, where you're just reading offensive concepts, right? So that's the thing where I think he's still developing as a flag quarterback. And on defense, he gives away his position too early by the way he turns his hips. So you can actually read what the entire defense is doing largely based on how he's positioning himself pre-snap and early into the play.
Right.
And I am not that good. So if I spotted that, I promise you more talented quarterbacks like Stephen Harpersad, that's the stuff he's looking for, right? Like that's the thing that makes a guy like him next level, and the ability to execute against it. And a lot of these special talents at quarterback, and it's guys like Nick Schaefer and Stephen Harpersad, that's the stuff they're looking for against your defense.
Right. Quickly here, on the yellow side of the standings right now, Santaris, Ethnic, Friends Without Danny, Hot Sauce Sports by 50 million points. Excluding your team, Peas, do you think any of these teams on the yellow side of the bracket could make a run?
I'm surprised how low Centaurs fall. I thought it was a really good Centaurs roster.
That's what I said, 3-5. I think it's such a off the wall thing here for them. They should be much better than what the record has indicated.
Yeah, like Team Ethnic, we played them. The game got out of hand, but was close for moments.
I'm just gonna check something here quickly. Here, did Centaur play Game Changers, and if so, who won? Because we don't have that in our tie breaks.
Oh,
Game Changers won, so technically, yeah, this is
correct. Yeah, we just talked about it.
This is correct. Yeah.
But it surprises me. I thought this was going to be a much better version of their roster.
Yeah.
And having played, I didn't play against Friends Without Danny. They have improved as they've sort of added to the roster throughout the season. I also think Jared Buck's adjusting to the speed of Tier 2 particularly well. So I think that depending on what the playoff roster looks like, Danny Damour, true to the name, won't be eligible. Eric Deschambault and Max Bura. Wait, is it 4 games or 5 games?
4 games.
4 games. Okay, so Max Bura and Eric Deschambault do qualify, so that makes them a much better team.
Yeah, Deschambault helps that offense with the intermediate stuff.
You're burying the lead. He's nothing compared to what Max Bura has done for this team.
No, Max Bura is phenomenal for this team.
Max Bura, again, I know he doesn't have the tackle pedigree, but the dude is ridiculous. He's got that Justin Lerner willpower quality that just makes plays that you don't think are possible.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the thing that they do. And they're coming along in a way I think is interesting. So I'm curious to see who they get. I think they're a little matchup dependent. Team Ethnic, it really comes down to whether or not Ben Lawler makes mistakes. Their defense still is making mistakes. I missed 4 wide open touchdowns. Right. That's overthrown back in the end zone. I'm the worst quarterback in this division. So if they do that, if he does that against Jason Rossi, if he does that against Anton Sakis or even Jordan Panetta.
Say it properly.
What?
Anton
Sakic, my mistake. Like, there's not another quarterback that won't punish them the way I didn't punish them on Monday night.
Right.
And like all the credit to them, they're great guys. They're a great team. They're fun. Offensively, they're everything you want. But defensively, they haven't fixed their issues yet.
On to women's. We'll see Red Nation play Vortex. What do you want to see from Red Nation to make you believe that they can make a run?
Points. Score. So I need you guys to score.
I'll say this: Eagle did not hide his comments about a particular quarterback on Red Nation in Alice Sobel.
I stand by my statement.
Yeah, that's fine. No, and I think it's a fair statement, right?
What was his statement?
That she's not played well and does not live up to the billing of being a quarterback of.
But this has been what Alison Sobel's been, has it not?
But for them to win last season, has she stagnated that she can't take the next step?
There are things about her game which innately work in the women's division in a way that wouldn't work in the core FPF divisions, right? She's a gunslinger. She's taking a lot of shots. A lot of the turnovers come on third down. I think sometimes I know that, you have to get to midfield or the ball goes to their team anyway.
Right.
But if you don't convert, the ball goes all the way back to the other team's 10. I think
5.
Or the other team's 5 rather.
Yeah.
I think Red Nation would be better poised to force teams to drive against their defense than to have Alison Sobel try and play for heroics.
So
she's got to be a better game manager.
So here's the thing about Red Nation. They lost by 35 to Vortex way back in week 1.
Yeah.
Lost by 13 to Brutes in week 2. The return game, they lost by 51 to Brutes. 52-1, by the way. And now they get Vortex right now. So essentially they lost by more or less 4 touchdowns per game, more or less.
So here's what's going to happen in the playoff bracket over here, right? So the 1 seed is either going to be Brut or Vortex, likely Brut, but we'll see what happens. 4 and 5 are going to be Loup and Louvre du Nord. They're going to play each other. The winner's going to advance. 2 and 3 is going to be the other Brut or Vortex, not in the 1 seed, versus Red Nation. Red Nation's going to lose. They're going to move to game 4. They're going to play the winner of the Nord game. They're going to win. They're going to move to game 5, play the loser of the 3 game, and get demolished again. And we're going to have a 1 versus 2 finals Brut Vortex. I'm sorry. This is what's going to happen.
Also, I clear out. I got to issue an apology.
Yeah, go for it.
Maud Lacasse called me out because I've been super high on Gab Vanier.
Oh, she was thankful to me because I went to bat for her, saying she's.
But whatever, you just always think the more experienced person will do better than the newer person.
Maud Lacasse is
you have the
gangster.
most predictable takes that you have to have done it before to do it in the future. I'm trying to be visionary. I'm trying to show the people where the league is going. I'm trying to look for the future of the league.
Maud Lacasse is a gangster on the football field.
Yeah, but it's okay. I know you're selling Vortex short. I know that you don't have vision. I know that you're just the crusty old dude.
Has vision.
I get it. Like, not everyone can be as
66% passing completion. Maud Lacasse.
Gabriel Vanier 60.3 though. Look at that.
34 touchdowns.
36 touchdowns.
Oh, this is what I tell you. They smoked them 33-13.
Oh, but also they lost to them.
Last game, my friend. Booyah! I won
Again,
this
so
one.
you're only referring to the past. I'm looking to the future. I'm looking at the future. And the future of women's division is going to be about Vanier. Like, Mo, I don't know what's happening. I tried to apologize to you, but now this is bigger than me and you. This is me and Mo. So I'm sorry. You got the wrong horse back in you. Unfortunately, Gab Vanier is the future of the women's division.
Maud Lacasse is a gangster.
Yeah, maybe. Or you're washed, Mo.
I'll tell you, they're going to win it this year.
Give me Vortex. Doubling down on my take. Give me Vortex.
I think you tripled down on your take.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's do it. I'm sorry, Mo Lacasse, you're excellent.
Oh, man.
But I can't agree with Mo because he's always wrong. So I'm sorry for you that he's going to be wrong about your team. It's not your fault. You're excellent. It's just that Mo made you worse.
I'm not stressed about it because I know Maud Lacasse will come up big for this team.
Yeah, it's okay. Why don't you tell us again about Andre Knight's going to win Receiver of the Year this year?
Look, their receiving core is nuts on Brutes. You see who they have.
It's okay. Vincent Benjamin probably can't do it in the higher divisions. I'm just reminding you of all your old takes.
Look, Laurence Popion is, I told this to Eagle.
Alex Holloway's a Division 5 quarterback.
Yeah, and he is. How many Div 2 titles did he win?
I mean, he got to the finals, Div 2.
Yeah, but he always choked, though.
All right.
Always came up short.
Dan Lazare can't do it.
Oh, you can't say that. Lazaro was pissed at you guys. Oh,
me.
man. He was like, man, no, sorry. No, he was pissed at Iggy and Laurie because I think.
He's always mad, though. It's Prozac, bro.
No,
Mental health is
no.
important.
No, he's
this month especially.
He's got a chip on his shoulder, Lazaro.
For no reason, by the way. He creates his own chip.
No, but okay, not to go off topic, but Laurence Pompignan.
Yeah, we'll do that in tier 1.
We got to come up soon.
Yeah.
If we did a 10-game regular season for co-ed or for women's, I beg your pardon, she would have put up nearly 1,000 yards receiving this year.
She's amazing. Like I think I thought she's been everything in co-ed, right? So like, I'm not surprised to see her. That was just my introductory point to her was in co-ed,
right?
I love her physicality in the red zone. Love her route running. Love her ability to get open.
She's like Rob Gronkowski out there.
Does everything. She's
a
you can't believe how quickly she moves for how impressive her stature is and how great her hands are. She's an everything receiver.
Gronk 2.0.
Yeah.
That's what she is. She's a matchup number. Like, you put her inside, outside, she'll beat you.
Gronk is Laurence Pombrillant 2.0.
Yeah, whatever you want to go with. Yeah. I think Gronk 2.0 or Pombrillant 2.0 is good either or, so it doesn't matter. On to tier 1. And
okay, so what's this about Dan crying?
No, I think he was disappointed, like in Iggy and Laurie, because they called him out. They said they weren't a good team and stuff. And then I came back last week saying, "Hey, no, they're a good team.
No, they're a really good team.
They're really good.
I don't think they said that.
Okay,
that
so who gets the number one seed at the end of the day? Bless or Kangaroos to wrap up the tier 1 schedule?
I mean, the best 2 teams doesn't really matter to me. Like, if either one wins, I'm not surprised.
So, Bless, I believe, plays Braves this weekend. I think Kangaroos has run it once. So the probability of
so Kangaroos going to win. Bless is going to win. So they're going to finish where they are now.
But remember, run it once in the spring season did beat Lazar's team in the playoffs. I always mock Lazar because he did the Carlton Banks throw. Remember the episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Carlton steals the ball from Will and tries to go for the game when he's shot and the ball goes into the Pacific Ocean? And Lazar did the exact same thing. He threw like a ball that was sailing, and hit like the top panel at Papineau and didn't even reach the earth until like the next day. So they do have their number, I think, run it once. But if Kangaroos has that chip on the shoulder, and I think they are definitely a team that I have bought into. I think they are going to make a run. I think they are the favorites to win tier 1. And 4 weeks from now, it would not surprise me to see Dan hosting of that trophy.
I mean, but like, we're gonna just pretend Braves aren't in the division, though.
No, but
I know they're like the injury to Gigi Chevalier is big.
Yeah,
it changes the team.
Yeah.
But like whatever, they're still up there. Like to me, there's a top quadrant of teams in that. And blessed, by the way, they're playing Braves, so I don't think they go undefeated because I think Braves probably. Like either way, it'll be a tough game, right? So,
also for Braves too, if they were to lose, they kind of fall into that abyss of maybe fall into the 4 or 5 spot, right? Depending on how tiebreakers work, which Eagle hopefully will have that corrected for us. So.
Yeah, but so I expect the top 4 to be when this is all over: Blessed, Kangaroos, Braves, and KGP, and I think those are the best 4 teams.
But
like if any of those 4 teams win, I'm not surprised.
But can you see any changes, though, with 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 with STL, right?
No.
So you think everything's going to hold?
I think the one change is that Kangaroos beat Runner once, and I think KGP will beat STL.
So they jump Runner once then?
Yeah, I think those are the 4 top teams.
Okay, so essentially KGP would be on the green side of the bracket, and Runner once would drop into the yellow side.
They will be, yeah.
But what about Braves? What if they lost to Blessed? I mean,
they still have 4 wins though. So
but they could drop if Runner once were to pull off.
The only way they drop is if KGP wins and Runner once wins, and KGP would have the tiebreaker on Braves.
And yeah, they beat Braves.
They beat Braves twice.
Exactly. So
by the way, the KGP versus Braves thing is real. For some reason, Braves cannot beat KGP.
No, but there's a bit of twitch in that between that series. Like,
define what you mean by twitch.
There's a respect, but there's a little bit of like, we'll give you a couple of shots here and there. There's
it's chippy for sure.
It's a competitive nature that they respect each other, but they don't love each other.
Okay. I mean, like,
I'm not saying they're going out like, hey, we're gonna bring guns and knives to a fight here.
So like at work, my boss respects me. I don't think my boss loves me.
But
So-
your colleagues, these are competitors. He's not your competitor, your boss.
Fair. I guess so. So, but then how many times do competitors fall in love? Mr. and Mrs. Smith from the Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt movie?
Brad Pitt movie, yeah. that
In
was
real
fun.
life, and I believe it happened in the movie too.
Yeah. Poor Jennifer Aniston, eh? She got screwed. At the
Yeah.
end. Anyway.
Tough one.
Yeah,
Tough one.
Tough one indeed.
But, that's love.
I would love to see KGP Braves go at it one more time. Maybe twice. Could happen. So.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It just, like I said, I think too many things have to happen for Braves to fall out.
Right.
I think running once, it's unlikely that they'll beat Kangaroos. Kangaroos now are full steam ahead. They have their whole roster. They're playing well. I don't see it. Last time Kangaroos scored 58 on running once.
Right. So if we have to give, like, ECW #NR have had a tough year in the Fall Cup. If we were to plan their Expedia trip, 8-week trip, because next season begins in Jan, so we're 2 months away from the winter season. So 8-week voyage here, Pease. Where would we send these teams to kind of detox from this tough, grinding season that they have to go through?
Amalfi Coast.
Amalfi Coast.
Amalfi Coast.
Amalfi Coast.
Really, there's not a reason to go anywhere else in the world.
Amalfi Coast. Where would you send them, Eagle? But it's 8
I'm
weeks,
going to Hawaii in February, and I'm telling you, I'd rather go to Amalfi Coast.
Okay, but it's an 8-week trip here, so they're not going to say all 8 weeks now.
Oh yeah, it's fine. Eagle, would you spend 8 weeks in Amalfi Coast?
Yes.
You've been there too, right?
Yes. It's
Okay,
amazing.
so clearly what's happening here is just Mo hasn't been there yet.
I've not been there yet. But would they not get bored, though, being in this-
No. You don't understand.
So I think we need to look at this from a different perspective. What is the purpose of the trip? Is it pure R&R? Is it to kind of get away from like the chaos of the island of Montreal and be able to train in like your
Let's get away from
hyperbolic
the-
time
let's get away from
chamber
the
type
FPF
of thing?
world. Get away from the FPF world. You've had some crappy seasons this year.
Based on how little I thought about FPF when I was in the Amalfi Coast, I say Amalfi Coast. It's heaven on earth, dude. It's wild.
I'm gonna take Pease's statement, but I'm gonna extend it just a little bit. I'm
Alright.
gonna do Mediterranean cruise, so you can hit up all of the islands and areas in that area. So you can do like your Portugal, you can do
Cinque
your
Terre and-
Spain, you can
Yeah.
do your Capri and everything. You can do your Mykonos. You can go through all the different spots.
Speaking of the Greek area of the Mediterranean, Johnny Matimenos, who's in this league, plays with the Wrangler, Darren Medizian, and all these guys. I go, so Darren, you went to Greece? He goes, yeah, but I'm not going to Mykonos. I'm going to a lesser popular spot, and he sent me pictures of the spot. It is fantastic.
Mhm.
So I would send them to that spot that Johnny Ladd had told me about.
But you don't know what it's called.
It's so
I should
memorable.
ask them. Yeah, I got
you don't
find it.
remember it.
I'll send you guys a text for next week.
I
But
will say though, Majorca, more like Midorca. Meh.
yeah, but I would send them to where Johnny went to the Greek islands. Much nicer than Mykonos, you told me. So there you go.
I'd be also curious, instead of doing more of like a relaxed trip, I'd also like to see them go like a California coast type of thing, end up on like Venice or Malibu Beach, having to deal with like the muscle jocks there and everything, right? And get challenged, do a bunch of stuff. I think a little bit of that competition where they feel like they can still be in it, but without being in the football world might be interesting to them and kind of get their mojo back.
Or see them having to deal with different types of competition, like perhaps drifting through Tokyo.
Yeah, may get to an accident. Hopefully not.
Mm.
And then reappear in a movie two movies later. What?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Why is Han still alive?
I
How's he
never
still
understood
here?
who's like bankrolling those movies and everything. Like, are those cars insured? Like, what happens to them? Do you bring it to the shop?
Yeah, it's called awesomeinsurance.awesome
Yeah,
Clearly.
because you get to crash the cars and apparently there's no impact.
yeah. That's a good question. We should ask the directors of Fast and Furious who insures the cars in the movie.
Especially the one that went to space in the last movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've really gone beyond outer space for that.
It's
one.
really the height of American cinema.
Exactly.
If they just if Nicolas Cage just chose Fast and they would never stop. They would never have to stop making those movies.
Of course.
So.
Anyway, it is now time for
Games of the week. We're going to do this a little bit differently this time because there's literally only one day of games at a single field scattered throughout the evening. So I'm just going to bring up the calendar and we're going to go through it. Regardless of division, we're going to do it by time. So we're going to start with Field 1 Women's Division. Brut versus Louvre du Nord.
Root.
Brute, because they're not playing Vortex.
We then have the Co-Ed Cup. Kiss My End Zone versus Free Smoke.
I can't pick it, but Kiss My Hands on by 50.
Yeah, Kiss My Hands On.
And also co-ed Les Paquers versus The Villains.
Villains.
Villains, yeah.
All right, women's Vortex versus Red Nation.
Vortex.
Yeah, Vortex.
Co-ed Cup, Fast Not Furious versus Easy Fun.
Fast Not Furious.
Yeah, Fast and Furious, yeah.
Tier 3, Lockdown versus Sulefest.
Sulefest.
Yeah.
Because they're playing Lockdown.
Tier 3.
Also, Eagle, check who's on Sulefest this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tier 3, Diamond Bougie versus Bandits.
Diamond Bougie.
John Bougie.
Tier 3, Blue Dreamers versus Why So Serious.
Blue Dreamers.
Blue Dreamers, but if it's like Thursday Night Football, if I can avoid watching it, I'll avoid watching it.
Blue Dreamers because I think they have a dynamic offense.
Yeah, that's true.
Tier 2, Beer Belly Brigade versus Mangoose.
Mangoose.
Yeah, Mangoose.
Mangoose is really good.
Tier 4, The Step Bros versus The Penetrators.
Penetrators.
Tier 1, Braves versus Blessed.
I'm gonna go Braves.
Just for differentiation, I'm going to say Blessed because it's a 50-50 matchup to me.
I love Molocast.
I would have gone with the opposite you said, basically, because,
Molocast.
because you're wrong all the time.
Molocast.
Yeah,
Tier
it's okay, you're wrong.
1, STL versus KGP.
I'm gonna go KGP.
KGP as well.
The Battle of
Broadcasting.
Positano.
But Mo's wrong, though. It's KGP.
Co-ed, Benchwarmers versus Fit Squad.
I'm gonna go Fit Squad.
I'm going to go
yeah.
Benchwarmers because Mo's always wrong.
Molocast is gangster.
Tier
And
1,
her name's not Mo like us.
Mode.
Kangaroos versus Run It Once.
Kangaroos.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kangaroos.
But Mo's wrong about his pick.
And last game, Tier 1, Easy W versus hashtag NR.
Easy W.
Yeah, so what happened was I actually looked at Mo's pick. He wrote that hashtag NR, so I'm going ECW.
Easy W.
There we go. And those are our games of the week for
There
our
we go.
final games of the Fall Cup regular season tournament. Got a preliminary round. I don't even know what to call it anymore.
Onside tournament over here.
So we're gonna get all the final tie breaks in as of Monday. We're gonna get the games scheduled. Make sure to check when your games actually are. Likely somewhere between the 13th, the 14th, and the 16th. Although I think there are some teams starting the 20th. I haven't looked at it in detail, but keep that in mind. And get ready for the rundown to the grand finals. Hopefully you're in the upper bracket. If you're in the lower bracket, you only have one chance to get there. So make it count.
Well, my duties are officially done for the fall season. PZ.
Well, you're calling the games, though, right?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Hey, I need to know that, Mo.
We'll figure it out. But
We'll let you call the Vortex Championship.
There you go. I'll be with the Vortex.
There we go. See, there we go. Thank you,
No,
Mo.
no.
Glad
I'll
we
be with
agreed.
Vortex saying, hey,
We finally
listen.
talked some sense into you. Mo Khan, you heard it
Are
here
gonna
first. Mo Lacasse, Mo Khan doesn't believe in you. We have it on tape. We have it on tape. We have it on tape.
We have it on tape. So Iggy, PZ, and Laurie, and I think Alex Dubois will take you the rest of the way for the remaining shows that's left. I'll be back in the new year in some shape or form, and I think we'll be in negotiations for the road show, which we'll figure out. Match words, please.
Is this
Isn't
a
it 5
contract year for you, Mo?
It is.
It is.
Good night, Kyrie Irving.
Are you gonna get?
Thank you.
You gonna get
Thank
renewed
you,
ahead
Mo.
of time?
Eagle, how about you produce the goddamn show?
But I am.
Poorly.
Good night.
Am
Kyrie
I?
Irving.
Yes.
All right.
Vortex.
Put the place up, yeah, we